What's going down, Saber Legion family? Thor, base my banner, joined as always, Mr. David Laudenslager. Say hello, David.
Hey, how's everybody doing tonight?
And we have a very, very special guest with us this evening, Mr. Charley Cummings, down below. Hey, hello, Charley.
Hello, Legionnaires, and everyone. Welcome.
So it's there's no live stream, there's no underground. You didn't miss anything. We're here live doing a predictions and preview video for the upcoming Suncrusher V Uncrushable happening live Saturday, November 11th. Correct?
Nailed it.
13th.
No, November 13th.
There we go. So you didn't nail it.
11th
November 13th. Joe, do we happen to have the poster for the Suncrushable or for Uncrushable?
No, but I can find it.
I just threw that at him out of nowhere. But so we're gonna do a preview. There's 10 matches. The championship series for the Saber Legions finally returning after COVID hiatus, and they have 10 matches down in Florida that they're gonna be running through. Myself, David, Mr. Cummings, we're gonna preview and predict all 10 matches for you. Give us our thoughts and insight on them. What little I have, mostly these two guys, will break it down for you, and I'll just do the things that I do. But gentlemen, thank you both for joining this evening and doing this. Charley, why don't you see the championship series coming back? What's that mean to TSL as a whole and you specifically?
Well, it's really a lot. I mean, basically, we've been doing kind of a lot of stopgap methods and still being able to do some stuff through the good work that's been going on through the Underground series. And I think really getting back to TSL 5 really gave people an opportunity and kind of, in essence, sort of whetted everybody's right, so to speak. And really, it just moved on from there. So Bladetober, it was a great event. Florida always has a great event. I just think the appetite is there. So the Champions League series being back, huge for us, and it's always about getting good fight out there for people to view and good opportunities for our fighters to fight. So we're super
I think
excited.
This event is going to give both that. It's going to give both great matches and great opportunities. I mean, let's just say the championship match is going to happen. There will be a new champion crowned at this event. And we'll definitely get there, but that's obviously going to be the main event. And do we want to talk about how we came to this, or how the decision for these two fighters coming together transpired, or should we save that until we get to the end?
No, we can get to that really basically because a lot of it is from the work that's been going on with the sport management group, with the leadership council, and those that seeing this that aren't aware of all of the endeavors and the work that's been going on with those teams. It's really been a lot. And so what we're doing is we're taking, in essence, we're going to take all of the stats, right? Everything that people have been doing, all of the history, and concentrate together. Want to participate in that would be able to do that. But in the meantime, right, we have a fighter, one of our members decided to step away, Jason Newing, who had the title at the point, who had won that from Jimmy Surreal, and so that basically went back into and before the ranking system really gets established, set up, what we did is we took basically the winner of TSL 5 was Mark Turco, and basically the winner of TSL 4, which was Alan Block. These were the last 2 years that would have, in essence, had an opportunity to fight for the Champions League belt. And since that belt was vacated, because of we hadn't had an opportunity to reestablish anything, we put those 2 fighters, and again, the ranking system gets set up, we have this opportunity to really establish a title holder at this point. And so those 2 fighters have an opportunity for the belt at this point.
So essentially it's giving both fighters opportunities they should have had for their wins anyways, while also giving us a clean start going forward after this match to do something different once the rankings is established and stuff, correct?
100%. You got it.
Awesome. Awesome. I am very excited for Championship Series come back. I'm not going to be able to be down there. David, I know you're going to be down there. Charlie, are you making it down to Florida next weekend, or are you going to be watching from home like the rest of us?
Yeah, I'm unfortunately not going to be able to. My daughter is going to be a flower girl in a wedding, so I am preoccupied, but super looking forward to it. So it's good.
Yeah, and then live streams will be happening, and then afterwards you can watch them and stuff too. So all that stuff will be. So let's preview these matches. Let's predict these matches. We have 10 on the docket. Let's go to our opening match, and we'll just start rolling through them here. So we got Tony Saffioti versus Mahomy Lab. Tony 5'9", 140, 71-inch reach. Training is Kenjutsu, Saber Combat, 1.5 years in the TSL. He created Quarantine TV, and he's the host of Gear Guide. He's going up against Mahomy, who's 6 feet, 280, 77-inch reach, so a little bit of reach difference there, about a 6-inch reach difference. U.S. Army combative training and boxing, 4 years in TSL. Uses the Ing Chao's Persuader and Florida Cup 1, 2, and he's fought in Suncrusher before. So this should be a pretty interesting fight. David, since you have really not got to say much, I'm going to go to you first. Tell us what do we need to know about these two fighters going into this fight?
I mean, the big thing is how it matches up is, you have someone who's taller, has reach. Where does that come into play? Can Tony, who's at the height and reach disadvantage, overcome that reach advantage? Mahomy's a bigger guy, but we've seen him in CS series, and he's able to move quickly. So there's no, so speed isn't necessarily going to be an advantage there. So you want to really look at getting inside of Mahomy's distance. If Mahomy's able to get the blade out and get those big wide cuts or thrusts, that'll be difficult to overcome. But Tony can be pretty wiry, as we've seen. I think he also, I don't know if he fought in one of our undergrounds, but he's fought in the CS series and other tournaments in the past. So that'll be the big thing for Tony going forward into that match. Is he's got to manage the distance and be able to just kind of get on the inside. He's got to be an inside fighter, and Mahomy wants to keep the distance.
Right. Get inside that reach, or get inside, get those points, and then get out and hopefully not get hit. Charlie, you've seen both these fighters fight. What excites you about this match?
Yep. Did he freeze?
I'm gonna say, did we lose Charlie?
He's talking, but I don't hear him.
Yeah, we've lost Charlie's audio. So, no, the Rival Ranger versus the King of Wakanda is going to be, just the King, but it's going to be a very interesting match. Like David was saying, you got, Mahomy with the height and the reach advantage. Can Tony get around him? We've seen a lot of that variation before.
Oop, there you go.
So I
think Charlie's back.
Oh, Charlie's coming back in
as well, right? So we've got a couple of guys coming up. What?
You were breaking up a lot.
You're good. You're good, Charlie. Go ahead.
Didn't hear any. Go
Nope. And then it goes out again.
Live streaming.
Yep. That's what, when you do these live, this is what happens.
Yeah,
right?
What I was going to say, actually, and Tony is Army as well, right? So we've got it. Okay. So we've got a couple of ex-Army guys going at it. And like, if Tony doesn't try to work on the speed to try to
I think Charlie's trying to move to a little better reception in his house.
Always my issue. All right, let's try something else. We're going.
I think what Charlie was. Oh, there. Wait. Oh, go. You got it.
Oh, are we back?
Maybe.
Do we have audio?
I can't hear him.
Still can't. Nope.
All right. So while what I heard, if people didn't hear it, was Charlie was referring. They're both they both have a military background.
They did that
so
work.
the interesting matchup going between them. Are you back now, Charlie? Or do we need to drop him and have him pop back in? I would say, Thor, let's just continue forward, and then when Charlie's back in, we will get his thoughts.
No problem. All right, so let's predict this match then, since we kind of got jumbled here. Mahomy, Tony, who do you got, David?
Well, I mean, I'm gonna kind of do these back and forth predictions. So I'm not going to give you specific wins on these things. So just because I'm trying to, because I'm fighting in the event. Well, I understand.
You only do that for your own fight. You can't head
if
bets.
If Mahomy can keep the distance, I think he can win. If Tony can find a way inside, that's his path to victory. So I'm just like I say, if I'm leaning, I would lean towards Mahomy just on the reaches life principle, not even necessarily based upon any other factors. Your video looks smoother, Charlie. So let's.
Yeah, it does look like you're there. So
yeah,
Charlie, who's your prediction?
That's good.
So
that is good.
Cut to it at this point. My prediction is Mahomy, and it's because of that. Because if he gets an opportunity, if they try to go toe to toe, I think it's that reach and that sort of that weight advantage.
Okay.
Play.
Reach is life. They both take Mahomy. I'm going to take Tony on the upset. He's going to get in there. He's going to use those skills. My man is a fantastic yo-yoer. That's an underrated skill that he's not getting enough credit for. Hand-eye thing. There's a lot of stuff there. I'm giving it to Tony. Tony's got this one. I'm calling it.
He's going to walk the dog.
Move on to match number 2.
See, the problem, Thor, is you guys can make these predictions, but I have to go there and see these people, and they're all going to come at me.
Do you know how many predictions I've done, and I've had to see all of the people? Brian Williams, I've predicted him so many times. Oh, don't even get me started.
So many times to win or to lose.
Off so many times. Just so many times. Okay, second match. Let's go, Joe. Oh, maybe Joe can't hear me, because I know we are having technical issues. All right. There it is. Boom. Match number 2. We got Tiffiny Hagan on one side. We got Kat Roseman on the other side. Fulcrum versus Nemesis. We got a pretty decent height difference here. 5'2" for Tiffany, 6 foot for Kat. The reach again is going to be 60-inch reach for Tiffany versus a 74-inch reach for Kat. 5 years in TSL, so Tiffany's got the advantage in that because Kat's only been in TSL for about 3.5 years. Certified line judge for Kat. Regional Florida Cup in 2018, 2019 first Suncrusher at Crush Zotica. Oh, that was a fun event. And then Tiffany's been in Suncrusher 2, Full Charge, Concert, Patch Designer, and Corn TV Toast. So these are two great people and great fighters. I'm excited for this one. This is very similar to kind of our last fight, but almost the discrepancy is greater than it was in our first fight. So let's go. We went David first on the last one. Charlie, if we have you, it seems like we have you back full. Let's get your thoughts on this match first, and then we'll go to David.
Sure. Another really, like you said, very close to at least the way the styles are and the tendencies of the fighters from the last one, right? So Tiffany's going to have to be really, really quick to try to overcome Kat's reach, right? And I think this is going to be a really, really good fight. Another really fun one visually to watch, just because of the juxtaposition going to see not kind of cross blades with both of them.
All right, so David, then what are you seeing in this match?
Fighting, putting up.
So, yeah, I mean, again, you're talking to, that big, height and reach discrepancy. That's usually where it boils down to. Now, I admit I have not seen them fight enough, and I think I fought both of them and just in sparring, but that was a long time ago, so I couldn't tell you specifically. It all depends. I don't know if Kat fights in a one-handed or two-handed style. That will make a big difference. Because Tiffany has a little bit more of a fencing background, so she's going to have that one-handed reach. But with two-handed, you have that. You have the ability to do harder parries. So that's going to kind of be the big factor there is your reach and height. Because also Kat's 6 feet, so. Yep. She's going to be able to get that headshot in much easier than, is typically happening in most TSL events.
5'2", 5'2" with a 14-inch reach disadvantages. I mean, it's tough. That's going to be tough. That's going to be tough to get around that, And
it's, again, about getting inside. You got to step off the line. You got to get inside. You got to push. You got to get them to overcommit. You got to realize that what you think is, when you're fighting a taller opponent, it's whatever distance you think is safe when you're standing, the closest you can be safely, it's always a step back with a taller opponent. You just have to follow that rule. And if you don't follow that rule, you're going to get those ones where you're just standing there and they just boop and hit you in the head. And that's it.
I was going to say, you're going to get booped. You're going to get booped. All right. Yeah. Awesome. So let's, Charlie, who you got for this one and why?
So I'm actually going to go with Tiffany on this, which is for Kat, and that's simply because Tiffany spends a lot of time fencing and working with Elizabeth, with Bumblebee, and has that and has to work on that quickness a lot. So I'm just going with that. But if it wasn't for that, I would be saying Kat all day.
Yeah. I mean, Tiffany does have the experience advantage, and she has been around a little bit longer. David, who are you got? And then I'll go last.
I'm going to go with Kat in this instance. That height and reach. Stay on. With the lack of experience, the mental game is going to be important. So if Kat stays on top of that, I think her physical advantages will make her victorious.
Okay. Now you guys made it difficult for me. If you both pick the same person, it's easy. I'm just going to go with the opposite. But if you both pick different people, you've handcuffed me. Not handcuffed me, but now you've made it hard for me. Okay. I kind of feel like Charlie. I kind of feel like I'm leaning Charlie's way. Like Tiffany's experience is going to overcome. And so I picked the quick person twice. That's definitely not going to happen. So, you know what? I'm going with it. I'm going to go with Charlie on this one. We're going to go with Tiffany. She's got it. Experience. Kat. It's gonna be close though. It's gonna be close. If it goes 2, it could be Kat. If it goes 3 or it goes the full distance, I'm gonna look for Tiffany. I'm just saying. I'm gonna hedge my bets like David does. So, all right. On to match number 3. David gets to exclude himself from predicting this match, and I think maybe Joe is gonna be predicting this match for us, possibly.
I mean, I'll give you my prediction. I predict both fighters will have a good time. So
I love you so much. 5'10", 180, 63-inch reach for Mr. Lowdenschlager himself. Time in TSL 2 years. That's false. And then Alec, 5'11". You guys are real even.
That's not right.
185. He's got 1 inch on you. But how is his reach 74 inches and your reach 63 inches? I don't trust these numbers now.
I have very short arms. I really do. Okay. I do not have much reach. So
okay, interesting. You both have a myriad of national accreditations and accomplishments, and you're both very accomplished fighters, very good, very, very good fighters as well. This is a straight even matchup for me. David, you're an excellent fighter, but Alec this is the one thing I will say about this event. Is we may think we know what's going to happen and we're going to try to predict what we think will happen. But with the time that's been between COVID and now and how all these fighters have transformed mentally, physically, I mean, spiritually. Heck, I mean, they probably most of these fighters have gone through a transformation on so many different levels. It's hard for us to even know, because everyone goes through their own thing. So you really don't know what you're going to get out of some of these fights. And I think that's the really exciting thing, is that it's really going to be, like it could be a surprise. You know what I mean? Some of these fights are going to go maybe different than I think we think they're going to go. I'm going to turn to Charley here before we go to you, David, to talk about your own fight. How do you see these two fighters stacking up against each other?
A completely sloppy fight. I know tech skill. I'm just kidding. I look a very beautiful fight, to be honest. I expect to see two very skilled fighters, two people that literally work craft on this, and so I do see. I'm hoping that this is one of the things that's not difficult. The fighters don't make it right, so you'll know this is one of the ones that I look at as very much a duelist type of thing. I look at really clean exchanges between the two fighters. So I think this one of the fun fights, the really fun to watch. And I think it's what's nice about it. And I know, David, that you and Alec did this so you guys be free to do things later on, so you could get away. But what's nice about this is it kind of offers up a little bit of balance within the card as well too, as having what we might consider one of the matchups earlier in the fights too is awfully nice.
When you're building the card, you got to think about that, the peaks and the valleys that a card goes through. And this is a great peak early on, having, like you were saying, Charley, two very technical fighters going at it. This is going to be, I like the exchanges is one thing that you nailed it, that I'm going to be looking for in this match, because I think these two are going to have exchanges that we don't, not that we don't see beautiful exchanges in TSL all the time, but when you have two technical fighters like this going against each other, I think the exchange, the opportunity for just very high level exchanges is there. Now, David, I'm going to give you a chance. Go ahead, cut your promo on Mr. Martinez here. Go ahead. The floor is yours.
The ultimate goal of this whole match and the timing of the match and everything is so for the first time in the history of any event I've ever participated in, I will not be the last person to be packed up. As most people who have encountered me at live events, I am usually the last person out the door, strictly because I take forever to pack my gear up. So my gear will be packed up. I will be in street clothes. I will be ready to go by the end of the event. That is the ultimate goal. So before even any of the match comes into play, that's the number one training goal. Be ready to go out the door when they say the event is over. And then yell at Alan and Mark because they're not packed up. But basically, the big thing going into it, and this really, I'm not going to give much, strategy away. It really just depends on how the styles match up. I mean, Alec has a one-handed, Spanish-influenced style, and I fight in what we kind of have called two-handed rapier. Can fight two-handed, can fight one-handed. I've been doing a lot of longsword training over the past few years. And then mixing that in with my rapier training that I do regularly. So you'll know pretty much early on what style I'm going to fight in, depending how it matches up, because there will be a feeling out period for both of us, kind of getting an understanding, and that will change the style, because Alec can also change his style, even though he does fight in a primarily Spanish. He will change it up. So. Yeah, that's the big thing with the matchup, is that
what you're saying.
Well,
you're picking yourself.
In my opinion, I've talked to Alec about it. I don't care about the outcome, as long as I feel good about the fight. Honestly, that's the majority of TSL. The fights that I don't feel good about going out of it, that's the point where it's like, I become like a sore loser and things like that, if I don't feel good about it. And it doesn't even necessarily mean me doing well. I meant that, like, everybody put on a good. I call it a good show.
I get what you're
You know,
saying.
everybody
I
put
get
on a
what you're
good
saying.
show, and you know that's like let me put it this way: like my TSL 5 Exotics third place match with Tony Zeltua, I felt really great about that match. Yes, I won, but I felt really great about it because it was a good back and forth. You know, I felt that it was being called, you know, called correctly, you know, as far
Well,
as like, you
yeah.
know, he got his, he got mine, and it was a good back and forth and everything. And it felt really good coming out of that. I felt would have felt just as good if I had lost that match if it was the same exact kind of thing. So that's really
So,
what
all
I'm
right,
looking forward
Charlie,
to
I'm
the
going to cut
most.
you off, David. Charlie, you get to pick Alec or David.
To be honest, I'm going David with this one. I'm going with just a little bit experience on it. David, I'm going the opposite. I'm going with age on this one, right? So I'm going with the age in the on it because I think you are two very even fighters with it. So I'm hoping your strategy is a little bit better.
It all comes down to that mental
Joe,
game with
Joe,
me.
are
If
you
I'm
able
not
to
in there,
pick one for us?
so.
I don't think Joe's there. All right. So I'm just gonna pick this one. I can't pick against you, David. I love you. You're my broadcast partner. I mean, obviously, I'm not gonna pick against my guy. All right. So on to match number 4, David. Sorry, Alec. We all love you too, but David's gonna win. All right. So on to match number 5. Sorry. We got Bobby Zavala versus Joe Blankenship. Again, pretty evenly matched here, 5'11 versus 5'9. The reaches aren't too crazy. You got 69-inch reach versus a 73-inch reach. We're not going to go through all their trainings and stuff like that, but you can read it there on the screen. David, now that you don't have to talk about yourself, which I know is tough for you, but now that you don't have to talk about yourself, what can you tell me about Joe versus Bobby that I need to know?
This will be a physical match. I mean, I would argue, with the exception of like, you know, Chris Besserell or Alec Martinez. You know, these are probably the most, I'll say fit is the best way to put it. You know, they both have different physical capabilities. Bobby has his Ninja Warrior background. Joe is an extremely physical fighter. He is very strong, but he's also very fast. You know, I experienced that firsthand watching his tag team fight that was on Underground, but I was filming it, so he is very fast, faster than you would think for someone his size. So that is just something to keep in mind. So this will be a physical match. What was the reach matchup? I did miss that.
It was 69 for Joe, 73 for Bobby. So it's 5
So,
inches,
okay.
4 inches.
So I mean, so if Bobby can use some of that, you know, essentially, you know, like Ninja Warrior parkour background kind of thing, and get off the line, get around Joe's strikes, because Joe is very much in the Wisconsin methodology of he does these big orbitals and these bigger strikes a lot of times. So if Bobby can work around that, then that will be the advantage. Joe is very strong. So like if he gets good, you know, I've seen him do some very good parries, you know, and defensive actions. So I know that he's not afraid to, you know, to be right in there. So if he can do that and then get that second intention, that will spell a little more danger for Bobby.
All right, Charlie, who do you got? Let's go right to the predictions. Who do you got in this fight,
Agreed.
and then why?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Joe on this one. He's got a really good center defense, and like you said, he's much faster than he appears. He's very fast. Plus, he's able to use that strength of his really to kind of thwart things off. Now, with that, Bobby is hella fast, right? And so if he's able to go off of the line and sort of some of the different maybe get Joe to kind of over and think, and I think a really good. Like you said, they're both real, you know, a little bit different, but just specimens of just athleticism, right? And so this is going to just really, really fun matchup to watch. But I'll go with Joe.
Yeah,
in that center
if
defense.
David and Alec is going to be very technical, this is going to be very, like, this is going to have a different pace to it, right? Like we saw it in that tag match. It was a phonetic pace that they had. And I could see this match going very similar to that. So I think you know what? I think I'm leaning Joe. I think I'm leaning Joe on this one too. I love Bobby, but I think Joe's going to take it. He's just, he's been looking good, looking fast, and coming out Bladetoberfest, getting sharp there, and having that little, tune up right beforehand, I think is gonna be to his advantage. So we can move on to match number 5. We got our first tag match. We got the Hot Dishes versus the Knuckle Stingers. I love this. So the Knuckle Stingers, Elizabeth Braatz and Katie McLoughlin versus Shannon Cole Cameron and Juliana Alex. Sorry. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not too familiar with the Hot Dishes. I am more familiar with the Knuckle Stingers. We've seen Elizabeth in Underground, and that's right, Katie just fought recently at Bladetoberfest. What can either one of you share any insight into this fight?
I'm going to have to defer to Charley on this. I'm going to have to defer to Charley on this. Yeah.
Yeah. So Elizabeth. So I'll start off with Elizabeth Bobby. Used to be a Wampa. So she years before she moved down to Florida.
Well, it looks like we're losing Charley again.
And as far as sorry, there's 10,000. Can you guys hear me at all?
Yeah, you're cutting in. You're cutting in and out. Kind of every couple words we're catching again, unfortunately.
Okay. How about maybe if I talk a little slower? I was a little fired. I was a little fired up for that fight. So real quick, I also got a chance to fight Shannon in Bladetoberfest as well. So just in the case, what I look at it is I look at two, extremely quick, and Elizabeth being extremely quick fighters, right? With excellent footwork on it versus Juliann plays hockey, right? She is extreme. She is much stronger than she appears, and Shannon is also, that's part of her strength. Is part of her, her strength is literally her strength. So if it gets into, we're gonna see kind of really fast fighters moving around versus some really fighters on it, and I think we have another juxtaposition of style. It's going to be interesting.
Awesome. So I'm gonna guess you're taking Elizabeth Knuckle Stingers, Elizabeth and Katie in this one.
With my Wampa and Wookiee nation on it, just because I fought with them more recently.
Cool.
Did you hear that? Did that come in from me?
Yeah, I heard it. He if anyone didn't, he's picking the Shannon and Juliana, the Wampa Wookiee matchup. So in that match,
there we go. Okay, David, who do you got?
I like I say, I don't have a whole lot of kind of background in these fighters, so I'm just going to go off of accolades and things like that. And I know it looks like Shannon came in first in Bladetoberfest women, so I'm just going to go with that based upon previous success and recent success, we'll go with Shannon and Juliann.
Well, you guys both pick them, then I'll pick the Knuckle Stingers because that's how I like to do it. Plus, I remember editing Elizabeth's fight down in Florida for Underground. She's super quick. I think that team's going to have it. She's got the experience, and that can shine through. All right, moving on to number 6. We have I don't know if I can pick against this team. I pick against this team way too many times. We have the Antheros.
Anti-heroes.
Is that how you say it? Oh, thank you.
Anti-heroes?
I'm missing the I.
Yeah.
Anti-heroes. There we go. I didn't see the I. It was throwing me off because of the font. Sorry. Josh Wilcoxen, Brian Williams versus Chomp and Stomp, George Arenas, and Thom Timko. So good with names, like always. You know me. Wow, those are big descriptions for all those fighters. And I'll just say this. I have I have called and picked against Josh and Brian on 2 occasions, and both times they have won. Now, do I pick against them a 3rd time to ensure their victory, or do I pick them to deflate them? I mean, that's where I'm at, people. So I'm gonna take this one. I remember editing Tom's match versus Joe just for the last Underground. He's a good fighter. I don't know much about George, but I do know a lot about Josh. I know a lot about Brian, and I know that I can't pick against them 3 times in a row. So I'm just going to pick the Minnesota boys, mainly also because they're from Minnesota, and I owe them. But now, so David, tell me why I'm not crazy for picking them.
Well, I mean, the big thing, Brian, obviously tall, long reach, has found a lot of success in TSL. Josh is very, very mobile. If you watch some of Josh's matches, he is all around the ring. Like he's everywhere. So that's going to be the big thing in this, is that how that matches up against George and Thom. I fought George in the exotics, so I can't really say. It's hard to say how that matches up in a standard. And I fought Thom a little bit in sparring. Thom is deceptively good with his timing. That is something to look out for. He surprised a lot of people going into the tournament because it was his first tournament, so people weren't experienced with him. And obviously Joe fought him as well, and that was a great match. So
Team Thom.
I think in this case I'm leaning towards Florida. Just home field advantage. You get that crowd boost, which must be nice. I've never had that myself. You get that home field advantage and everything. And I think they can match each other on a physical level. I think it's more just about, it's going to come down to skill and experience. So because like I say, Thom can match up against Brian on the reach and the height, so we don't have
the reach. The reach is, I was looking at the reach when you had mentioned that they're pretty equal. You got 73 for Brian, 76 for Josh, 72 for Thom, and 73 for George, it looks like. So
so just a few inches. I mean, it really depends on 1 to 2-handed fighting. How they can create distance, and quickly move in and out. So, like I say, I think in my opinion, I lean towards Florida.
All right, I picked Minnesota. He picked Florida. Charlie, who you got?
So I'm the same pool with Thom and TSL 5, and I'm not really fight Thom. He is another technically good fighter, and the reason that people don't know a lot about him is he's relatively new, right? And so this is really one of his first opportunities on the stage, which is why he was able to kind of step in and step up to a lot of people at TSL 5. I did not get a chance to see much of George's fights with that. However, for the same reasons, David, that you said, the home field advantage, all of those things. However, I got to pick my boys, right? I
There we
mean,
go.
I can't not pick my one. I mean, I literally fight these guys, and I see them every week. Put it this way: if I don't, they both get some coming from me on that in the next meet, right? So,
well, I've had a stern talking to from both of them for picking against them, so I totally understand. I totally understand.
Yeah.
I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
I understand.
Well,
all right.
I'll just
Number 7.
Brian's our Wampa team captain, so gotta
stick with the captain. So I Minnesota boys all the way. All right, match number 7, we got Abdou versus Andy Cameron, Fujin versus Mr. Fabulous, 6'10" for Amin, 5'10" for Andy. Reaches are very even at 73 and 70. These are very even fighters stature-wise, at least. We're not talking about a great discrepancy. How do they match up technique and skill-wise? Charlie, why don't you start us off? And then you can pick your fighter when you're done.
Sure. So Andy is one of my favorite fighters right now in TSL. Relatively new to it and just super exuberant. Him, Greg, there's a couple of new people that are out there that have really kind of caught the TSL bug. Right? And so he has been able to, plus he's working in a really tight-knit charter, right? The better they are, the cat dog, if you can hear that. But the better charter, the better everyone becomes. So you get really somebody that's relatively new to this, to somebody that also comes from a very established charter that has a lot of experience in Amen. And so, another one that's to fabulous match card is from top to bottom. Because literally
it is a very good card. This is 2 fighters. I've loved to see Andy Cameron come on through Underground. I mean, he showed up in Underground 3 different times. So, and I gotta say, he impressed every time he was on film. Now that is 3 different times that he's given Amin chances to maybe look at what he's doing, and also his Blade Toberfest and TSL 5. They got chance there, but so Amin's been around for a long time. Andy's really coming on hot and a little bit younger. So who then is your pick for winning this fight, Charlie?
So in this one, I'm again with the experience on this one, and I'm going to aim in on this one because he does have that reach. Or at least he's bigger. And he's also another one that's deceptively quick for his size. So I'm going with Amen on this one.
All right. David, break it down and then give us your prediction.
Yeah, so the big thing here, the big thing here is, Amen has that experience level, whether it be with TSL or other martial arts. So that's the mountain to overcome. And he has very good match vision. He tends not to buckle under pressure in a tight match. That's a common trait if you look back at his matches. So that's the difficulty that Andy's going to need to overcome. Is that experience going to be a difference? And Amen also has a good defensive ability. He very much can throw people off with how good he is defensively. So I think that's the big thing Andy has to overcome. Andy is very fast as well. Again, falling from that the Wisconsin style, which is kind of like, say, very much a reach game, heavy orbitals, try to be fast, disruptive. That is very much in that wheelhouse. So, and he follows into that. So, that's the big thing is if Amen can be disrupted by Andy's speed, I think that's going to be his path to victory there. So my prediction, I'm going to go with Andy in this instance, just because he's been very much a rising star. He's taken some really good people to their limit. So it just based on experience there, the past times I've seen him in person.
He's been fighting more recently, is what you're going at. Eamon's been on more of a hiatus, so he's sharper coming in. I like that argument. I like Charlie's argument too. Eamon's been around for a while. He is not his first rodeo. He's not going to be shaken by the stage. But then again, I don't think Andy is either. Oh man. This is a tough one. This is going to be a good match, people. I think this is definitely one you want to tune in for. I'm gonna go with Andy. I think I'm leaning towards you on this one, David. He's sharp, and I think he's gonna keep sharp. I think Eamon's gonna give him a run for his money, though. I could see this one easily going 3. Maybe with Andy taking that first one, Eamon coming back in the second, and then coin flip in the third. To be honest with you, but I'll take Andy in that coin flip from my side. So on to match 8 we go. We got Mr. Seth Clenndening versus Mr. Jay Madan. I am very excited about this fight. Seth's 5'9.5", Jay's 5'8". The reach is like almost the exact same. It's like a 69-inch reach, 69.5-inch reach for Seth. So, I mean, that's 0 difference. I mean, Jay's got the experience on him, I would say, just in TSL. And just being in big fights and overall just being in big spots. But I don't think this is a spot that's going to be too big for Seth either, that he's going to, that's going to affect his performance. But Jay's Dr. Doom gear set is phenomenal. I'm just going to say that, speaking to my comic book center, I love that Dr. Doom headgear and all that whole gear set. But tell me what I'm not seeing here, Mr. David Laudenschlager, about this fight, Jay versus Seth. What do you got?
Well, so I mean, we haven't seen a lot from Jay. Been on hiatus, as a lot of us were, and so that's going to be the big thing. Is where does he stand at this point? That's the intangible. We may not be thinking about is that Seth has been super active. I mean, he's right. Bladetoberfest, TSL 5 events before that. He's constantly training. Is that the advantage, or will the overall martial experience play out for Jay? The big thing is, Jay, I would say, is fairly unflappable. He does not get phased in the ring. It does not matter the situation. I've seen him in big holes that he had to climb, and even if he did or didn't, you didn't notice it in his demeanor. It did not change. It did not shift. Seth is very much going to play that distance game. Lots of big, wide, sweeping attacks. Operating at the end of the pommel kind of thing. So, and I've seen Jay make people pay for those kind of things when they don't have the mechanical advantage. He very much understands that. I mean, he did that to Charley a couple times. I remember in their match a few years ago. Just you overreached and he made you pay for it. So that's the big thing, is if Jay can get the right read on Seth, he can win. But Seth has the recent training experience coming into play. So just having that combat vision constantly running.
Sounds like you're going the same way you went on the last fight then, versus you're picking Seth then for this fight?
No, I'm going to go with Jay on this one, just because like I say, because of his ability to not waver or shift, in a fight. If he can get locked in appropriately and get a read on Seth, and there's a lot of footage of Seth, so there's a lot to look at. I think he can come out victorious. But if it is, it's going to be super close, and it might even be a comeback scenario, because Seth is known for having runs occurring in his matches where he can go a couple points up.
Charlie, do you see it going the same way, or see it going?
To be honest, I do. I do. I see it, and I've actually fought. I have fought and lost to both of these gentlemen, right? And Jay really is super. I mean, when I say technical is a word that gets thrown out a lot, but like you said, David, he did exactly those things. I knew the point exactly where he was going to get me and how he was going to get me and things like that. And so did he. I mean, it was less of a, it was less of a chess match, I thought, than it ended up being checkers. I was playing checkers. He was playing chess. Right. And so, and at the same, and not to say that I, have an even fight with Seth, because Seth also has beaten me in a couple of instances recently as well. But if Jay is sharp, right, and I have no reason to think that he hasn't been doing what he's been doing, I just got to go with 20 plus years of experience on it. And now Seth, like you said, is one of the hottest fighters in TSL right now. Right, came out, took down the Exotics Championship the way that he did it. Won Bladetoberfest against some really, really tough competition that went up to Wausau up there. And so so I could see, like you said, David, I could see it if Seth's able to get on a run and take it. But again, as now the 50-year-old and in the Masters division, I got to go with the experience. If you see my trend, I'm picking yet again the older, more experienced fighter.
So normally you two have now both picked Jay, and historically, since we've been picking these, I've been going the opposite. I'm swerving. I'm actually going with you two gentlemen. I'm with you guys. I think Jay is going to come out in this one. I think he's going to be, he hasn't lost anything. I think he's going to come out sharp. He's going to come out focused. And like you said, David, the difference with Jay is I've never seen Jay. Jay's here, right? I've never seen Jay here, and I've never seen Jay here. And I've seen Jay a lot in different wins, losses. I've never seen him off baseline. You know what I mean? Like personality wise. So I don't think you'll get anything different out of him going into this one. So let's go to our penultimate match number 9. And we had another Madan fighting in this one. His wife, Lauren Madan, versus Ruth Marie Hodges. This is going to be a very exciting fight. I know these two were both in the inaugural women's tournament, weren't they? 4th place at TSL.
And Lauren was victorious.
Lauren, did they ever cross blades, though, in that tournament? That's what I was wondering. I know Lauren won the first women's tournament ever and was the first holder of the women's belt. But I just not remembering if those two had ever crossed blades in that title run in that tournament. But nevertheless, Ruth Marie's only 5 foot with a 60-inch reach. Lauren's a little bit taller. She's 5'6" with a 65.5-inch reach. So reach is life. I mean, 5.5 inches isn't a ton, but it's also not nothing. Both these women are very accomplished fighters. They've been around for a long time. I mean, Ruth Marie's fought in Armageddons, Suncrushers, Dark Watches. Lauren's fought in TSL, Wars, Armageddons, Gatherings, Crossroads, Suncrushers. I mean, very established fighters. Very awesome people. I love both these guys. Charlie, why don't you start us off on this one? Break it down, who you got, and then why.
So I'll just break it up. Yeah, I mean, if you want, I'll do the former. I'll go Lauren first on it. Ruth is so much fun to watch, and literally is one of those fighters that brings joy to not only to her, to the opponent, to the counselor, the line judges, everybody that's watching,
the commentators. She's fabulous.
Yep, absolutely. It's so much fun. But at the same time, and it's not that Lauren isn't as well, but Lauren is also, she's more quiet, right? And I think she's more of that quiet assassin, that Mark Carrico kind of quiet, silent warrior on that. So I just look her to do her thing, take her time, and let Ruth jump around, and then have her just stab her when she stops on it. And so that's what I think is going to happen.
Okay, David, do you see it going differently, or you see it going the same way Charlie sees it?
So to give some historical reference, I just looked up TSL4 women's tournament because they were both there, and they both fought. In the second round, actually, they fought, and Lauren took it 10-7. So
10-7.
obviously, a lot of time has
Now that
passed.
was a one round and done, different than a 3-rounder match. But okay,
correct.
okay.
So there's no time for adjustment in that instance. So it's very possible that Lauren could come out strong, get a first match, get a first round in, and then Ruth Marie summons some hellfire energy and is able to take down Lauren in a second round to bring it to 3. I could very well see that happening. Yeah, it's really the reach that Lauren has. She's very skilled, and the silent assassin was kind of a good way of putting it. She has very good defense. Keeps it very tight as far as her blade work. So that's the big thing that Ruth Marie has to work around. And Ruth Marie is very fun to watch fight, as was said. So I think right now I see Lauren taking the match. If it just sticks to her guns, I think that's the big thing. If Ruth Marie can feed off the crowd, feed off the location, feed off the situation, that will be the danger to Lauren in that match.
Yeah.
Okay. So now you both picked Lauren. Ruth's gonna be on home field. I love Ruth. Oh, I want to, but you guys have put me in a hard position. But I went with Jay last time. I'm gonna go with Lauren too. I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna just we're all in agreement
go with Team
there.
Super Green.
I am gonna go with Team Super Green.
Their tag team.
I love that. I absolutely love that. I just see Lauren, like you said. I think it could go 3. I think Ruth definitely could end up making some adjustments in that second round and maybe getting one, or maybe even taking the first one, and then Lauren has to make adjustments because we don't know how either of these fighters have really been since. Yeah, I mean, since who knows? Since the last time they fought, which has been a while for both fighters. So this is going to be, but yeah, I'm gonna go Lauren. All right, that brings us to the main event, match number 10 of 10 for the belt. We talked about it earlier. Mark Carrico, the winner of TSL 5. Alan Block, the winner of TSL 4. Historically in TSL, if you win the TSL National Champion, you've gotten a title shot. That didn't happen for Alec because of COVID, and that didn't happen for Mark because same reason. So now they're getting kind of a chance against each other. Oh, because Jason had vacated the title. So since we have a vacated title, we take the 2 winners of the last 2 national tournaments, and we're going to smash them against each other. Now, lucky for us, these are 2 fighters who know each other very well. Both from we're out in California for a while. I know Mark now has moved to Arizona, and Alan, I believe, is still in California, right, David?
Yeah, he has shifted down to SoCal, but yeah.
Okay, still out there. The height advantage for Mark, he's 6 foot tall. Alan is only 5'10". Alan's quite a bit lighter, 150. Mark is 230, but he's got a 73-inch reach to Alan's 70, which isn't huge. They both have just a ridiculous amount of training, as you can see on the board in front of me. They both have a ridiculous amount of fight experience. I mean, these are 2 of the most seasoned fighters that we have, but they're very, very different stylistic wise and fighting wise. And I'm going to give Mr. Cummings the first shot here, kind of breaking down what he's looking for in this fight, what he's excited for, and then you're going to get to be the first one to pick the fight. So, Charlie, take it away.
Man, talk about putting me on the spot for something. I mean, this is the red wedding, the purple wedding. This is right. This is Order 66. This is all of the climaxes from all of the big fights, right? So if you have a card stacked as this card is, you got to end it with something huge, and you don't get bigger than this, right? You get 2 fighters. Yep. And even put it this way, even if the belt wasn't on the line, you would still get the same effort out of these 2 fighters. And what I see here is I see 2. If we were to say that there were a professional combat saber, combat LED saber combatant, it would be these two guys, right? I see every time I see Alan, he is honing his craft and he is getting better and better and working on things. Now, again, COVID, I haven't seen him fight for. I mean, I did. Well, he he dismantled me in exotics at TSL 5, but I didn't get a chance to really cross blades with him outside of that. But at the same thing, Mark, on the other hand, too, Mark is another one. I mean, all you got to do is watch Stand and Stab to see somebody that is literally always thinking of the next way. And so I don't have any doubt in my mind that Mark has been watching Alan fight for years and has been coming up with his strategy of how he would personally fight Alan. And it would be different from how he fought, let's say, when he fought Terry, right, and dismantled Terry with Terry's orbitals, and all he did was just you and David, basically just, Mark and David just poked Terry to death in that doubles match on it. So I see a really good fight with it with two fighters that are really hungry. If I
okay, I won't put you on the
overuse.
spot. You don't have to pick the fight yet. We'll save that.
Okay.
David, you know both of these fighters extremely well, and that's literally putting it mildly. Break it down for us within reason.
Yeah, I mean,
that I can
I would
understand.
argue, and maybe other people could argue otherwise. I probably know both of these fighters better than anybody else in TSL. Started TSL with Alan, went through years. We developed the Unity rule set where we were fighting probably 2-3 times a week for a few hours at a time. And with Mark, I've fought him in most of my CS appearances. And early on a few years back, and then now we're tag partners and tag champions. So that's the big thing, is like I've had experience with both of these guys. So the big thing I see happening is there is a very different style here. Alan is very much a two-handed fighter. Mark is very much a one-handed fighter. They're not going to switch out of that. Alan will occasionally do, one-handed moves out of two hands, but primarily he's going to operate from that two hands. So there's going to be a reach disadvantage there. That's the first thing you got to look at. You already had the reach disadvantage with the physical reach, but then you have the technique reach disadvantage as well. So that's going to give Mark an extra step in time on top of Alan. So Alan needs to basically overcome that time disadvantage if he's going to stick with the two-handed option. And he basically, that's going to be the big key to victory for him, is looking to get around that reach advantage. Because the one thing you can never put past Mark is always going to be technically sound. He will never give you an inch of mistake. If you give him an inch, he will take 5 inches from you, probably from your head or your neck. Not your neck, but like your torso. But yeah, he will punish you for your mistakes. And he is the most economical fighter in TSL. There is never a wasted action that he does. And when you're dealing with that, you have to make sure that, that's a difficult hill to overcome. And they did fight in the semifinals for standard, and Mark ended up winning that fight. So that's the big thing, is that overcoming that one-handed reach. Mark has the balanced saber that really complements his one-handed style. There's so many elements that are going to be difficult to overcome for Alan. So if Alan can get past those things, like in match, he is one of the best fighters in an exchange. His ability to adapt to the second and third and fourth intention in an exchange is unmatched in TSL. So that's the big thing that Alan has going for him, is that if he can get past that first, intention from Mark, whether that's a defensive or an offensive intention, he will have an advantage there, because his ability to quickly get those second and third intentions in, that's where he has the advantage. So those are the big breakdowns. I would say that the other big thing is Alan needs to Alan needs to stick with his game, but he also needs to adapt. Alan's biggest issue in matches he's struggled in is his ability to adapt. And Mark has struggled with that as well. And the big disadvantage, if you look at both of these guys, I'm usually in their corners. I will not be in the corner. I will be operating commentary at that point. So
okay,
I'm
not
not
gonna put you on the
I
spot yet either. Okay,
do
so
it. Yeah.
now Joe, I've just been informed. Producer Joe's gonna pop in. He's gonna give us a little nugget of insight on this match, and then we will be picking our predictions for who will win the CS Championship belt between Mark Carrico and Alan Block. All right, Joe, take it away.
All right. I just wanted to pop in here real quick. And one, I might cut back to our little card and Mark giving his best. I'm going to call it the Alfred Hutton pose right there. And kind of like what David said, Alan, Mark, two-handed, one-handed. Also, look at Alan. I would say bigger movements, a little more. Don't want to call Alan dynamic and not call Mark dynamic, because I think they both are that in their own ways. Mark just is dynamically more efficient. Let's go with that. And then, yeah, sticking to it. And then Alan's mobile. It's almost opposing forces what we're looking at. Alan mobile, big swings, going to probably expend quite a bit more energy versus Mark. Stands and stabs, the efficient fighter, and is going to think through all this and a lot of the same things that David said. I just hadn't heard anybody mention the bigger swings and stuff that I think of with Alan taking versus kind of the more efficient straight line.
Be the first man here to go out on a limb and pick one of these two fighters to win this match?
Ooh, sure. I think.
All right.
From TSL 5, if they both do what they were doing there, I'm going to say Mark probably edges this one out, just with the efficiency.
Okay, we got one for Mark now. All right, now I am going to put you guys on the spot. We're going to go back to Charlie, putting you on the spot. Mark or Alan, you got to pick one. Can't hedge your bets. Who you got? Don't even have to explain it. Just who you got.
I'm gonna take Alan is gonna look at the fight against Mark from TSL 5, and he's gonna use multiple levels on it. So at this point, Alan, I love Mark to death. He's my boy. But I'm gonna go Alan on this one.
All right, we got one Mark, we got one Alan. Oh, I'm so glad, David. We go to you.
Well,
who do you got?
I'm gonna chicken out and not give you a prediction. You have an unstoppable force of Alan, the immovable object Mark. If I make a prediction, I will never live it down. Mark's gonna give me crap. I'll literally get a call from Alan probably in 5 minutes if I say Mark's gonna win, and I'll get a call from Mark. Can I say one thing though?
Okay, you can say one thing.
Against him.
One thing we have to understand also is the unprecedented that will happen regardless who wins this match. Mark wins, he becomes the first 3-belt champion, so he's going to be Marky 3 belts. And Alan, if he wins, he becomes a 2-timing Block. So I'm just giving them horrible nicknames. So so he'd be the first 2-time or Marky 3 belts. So that's the big thing I'm looking for.
Belt, the tag team belt, and the championship series belt. That's the 3 belts that David's referring to. And Alan being the first championship series champion to repeat would be why he would be 2-time Alan. All right. So it comes to me. We got Joe picking Mark. We got Charlie with Alan. I love both these men. They are both great fighters. Ooh, I have thought about this for like a month since we said we were going to do this. I've been thinking about this moment. And I think it's the journey back for Alan. I think of being on top for so long, then losing it and having to, it'll be a long journey back to him. Mark's been on such a hot streak though. It's so hard to bet against a hot hand. It's very hard to get bet against a hot hand, but every hot hand goes cold once in a while and they run out of steam. I'm not saying that's going to happen to Mark in this match, but I'm going to pick Alan. I'm going with Charlie. That's 2 for Alan. And since David's too chicken to pick one of them, I throw it up in the air. No, I'm just kidding. We're all winners. The championship series events are back in TSL. They kick off.
You're asking me to pick
Saturday.
children, Thor.
Oh, come on. No, I didn't ask you. You got real children. These are men. They can handle it. Next Saturday, November the 13th,
or can they? I've had these conversations.
TSL Championship Series, Suncrusher event, Uncrushable next Saturday. I've been your host, Thor, Baseball Banner. That's where you can find me. David, Charlie, thank you so much. The Saber Legion, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook page, Facebook groups, all over the place. You guys know what to do. You know where to do it. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Until the next one. Deuces. Joe, get us out of here. Send us home.